Alright, welcome to the channel and to the Speedy Space Marine Series. Today we're going to be tackling a legion known for having the most powerful psychers in the Horus Heresy. Cursed by the flesh change and rumours of Magnus doing nothing wrong, it's the 1000 Sunz. All the paints you'll need will be listed below in the description, so let's get into it. Alright, starting from a base of Retributor armour, we're going to take a mix of Retributor armour and Aluminium or Aluminum from Vallejo metal colour. We're going to use this to start highlighting up the armour and setting the foundation for everything else. So I'm using the medium Series D Drybrush from Artis Opus here just to create some highlights, natural highlights within the volumes of the armour. So anywhere that the hobby light's interacting with from the top down position, which would be the top of the backpack, top of the shoulders, top of the arms, outside of the legs, top of the head, all the usual areas that you can see whenever you hold your model underneath the hobby light. Adding in a bit more aluminium to that mix, we want to bring up those highlights just a wee bit further, just to increase that value difference between our shadows and our highlights. Again, targeting all of the same areas, less pressure this time, so hold the brush further back from the ferrule. Now we're going to take some Carroburg Crimson and we're going to apply this in a filter layer all over the armour. Now I quite like using Crimson for my 1000 Sunz because I think it ties in with the Crimson King, ties in with Magnus's look instead of going with like bright reds here. So the Carroburg Crimson, I have two different mixes here. One is just pure ink or pure wash out of the pot, and the other one is thinned down about 50-50 with water. It just helps me to control the amount of colour going on at a particular time. If there's anywhere that's deep in shadow, I'm essentially using the pure out of the pot Carroburg Crimson, and we're using this anywhere where there's a lot of like panel lining or recess shading that needs to be done. But build this up over a number of layers to increase the overall opacity of the wash and to further tint the color of the gold. But you can see how applying those initial highlights of the aluminium and Retributor armor have give us a slightly different finish whenever we apply the Carroburg Crimson over the top. You can see those highlights coming through, and you can see how this thin filter layer is interacting with them. It's almost acting as kind of like a candy coat on top of it. So we're still allowing those metallic pigments and flakes to show through with these thin washes as we build up the opacity of the color. So whenever I'm doing this, I'm making sure that the wash doesn't pull heavily in any areas. If that happens, it'll leave you with tide marks that are quite hard to fix. So whenever you're doing this, make sure you apply it in a smooth manner, the same as you would with contrast paint. You can use a contrast here instead of the Carroburg Crimson if you prefer, but this is what I had on hand at the time. So to help boost the intensity of the Carroburg Crimson, I've mixed in a very small amount of Evil Sunz Scarlet here, and we're applying that over the brighter areas of the armour, because that will show through more of that red colour versus those deeper crimsons. And you can see the addition of the Evil Sunz Scarlet tints the colour more towards red and just makes it a bit more intense. And you can move quite quickly through this process because we're applying such thin layers of paints with these wash consistencies. They dry super fast. So just continue to apply these filters of Carroburg Crimson and Carroburg Crimson Evil Sunz Scarlet over the model until you're happy with the intensity of the colour. Also, try to be careful whenever you're doing this process. Any areas that we want to retain that gold look and that highlighted gold look, try to avoid hitting them with the wash. So you can see I've avoided areas on the backpack where I want to keep those gold exhausts and heat sinks and stuff. Then taking some Abaddon black, we want to apply that into the rubberized sections of the model. So just aim to do this in one or two even coats, but ensure you get nice opacity to your color and cover up all of that gold or those red tones. Grab any tubing or any wires or anything like that as well whenever you're going through this process. So take your time whenever you're doing this and do your best not to hit any of that red armor. I'm using a size 2 Series M here, but if you need to use a smaller brush, by all means. Now grab some Incubi darkness and we're going to paint in the lenses. So do that sensor on the top of the head and then apply a nice even coat over both of the lenses. Now we're going to grab some 1000 Sunz blue and we're going to highlight up those colors. So we're just going to put a dot on top of the sensor and then we're going to look to hit the inner corner and lower edge of each lens. Then grabbing some titanium white, we're going to mix that in with the 1000 Sunz blue and we're just going to highlight up those sections one more time. Grabbing the sensor at the top and then just looking to hit the inner corner of each lens. Then thin down your titanium white to the point where you can create nice consistent dots along your nail. Brace and apply a dot to the rear corner of each lens. This will act as a wee reflection point and just give you that wee bit of extra detail in the model. And once he's all put together, he should look something like this. And you can see how that candy coat of the Carroburg crimson and Evil Sunz Scarlet really intensifies the color of the red and really gives you a nice representation of the 1000 Sunz. Popped them on the base, and if you want to see how I make these bases, there's a link up in the top right if you want to check that out. But let's get them on the spinny thing and get a proper look. So you can see how those deep recess shades have come from the pure Carroburg crimson to create a nice separation within the armor panels. So have those rich gold highlights that we established early on in the process, and you can see how those highlights come through in the model as well in those lighter sections of the Carroburg crimson. I think this is a really nice representation of the 1000 Sunz and I can't wait to see yours on the tabletop. If you've enjoyed the process, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully you found that useful. If you have any comments, questions or suggestions for future videos, please drop them below in the comments. And if you want to take your painting to the next level, I have a Patreon that's focused around feedback and coaching. You also get access to exclusive guides and content. If you want to show me what you've been working on or what you've been using these videos for, please head over to the Discord and drop some pics into the whips or the completed projects. I would love to see what you've been doing. Just want to say thank you again for watching and I'll catch you at the next one. All links can be found below in the description.